seek redress against them through the courts of law by instituting action against them. I beg to submit, Right Honourable Speaker and honourable members.
The member who raised the matter. Is the response sufficient?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, there was an allegation made against the security forces. The minister has responded that these are officers, and that we cannot deny. However, Right Honourable Speaker, what was also brought to my attention was that this lady went to Kinawataka police to report these people because she knew who they were. And the police refused to take her statement. I don't know what the Minister of Internal Affairs is saying about that. Is it in order really for the police to refuse to register a case when somebody goes to report? Secondly, Right Honourable Speaker, because there were many people encouraging this lady to go, I think the police spokesperson saying that let her go to Ginger Road Police Station. I don't know whether the minister has interested himself as the line minister responsible for the security of civilians in this country, whether you have interested yourself in getting to this lady. Because once somebody is tortured to that extent, Speaker, if you saw the photographs, it's also traumatizing for her own security. I remember speaking to one of the ladies and I asked her whether she had gone back to her home because it was likely that she could be harmed. And they said no, she's actually out of her home and somebody had offered to give her shelter for some time as they pursue this matter. So I want to find out from the Honourable Minister whether you, as a person, you have interested yourself in this matter. Because the Attorney General, who was here and gave us comfort, said he was going to liaise with you so that you get to the bottom of this case. And also the DPP, Right Honourable Speaker, indicated taking up this matter because it was of a grave nature. So we want to know whether beyond the statement from the UPDF spokesperson, which I found inappropriate because I expected them to investigate, not only to come and say that these are not UPDF officers. No, that's not enough. Nobody should torture another person in this country. Whether you're a security officer or some security people, you should not torture anybody. So, Right Honourable Speaker, I beg to submit.
Honourable Minister.
Indeed, Right Honourable Speaker and honourable members, the AG contacted the police leadership and I pledged to follow up to see what action was taken in regard to the honourable member's concern.
Thank you. Colleagues, on such a matter, beyond bringing them here, such a victim, such an alleged victim, you can help him or to report to Uganda Human Rights Commission, where they can do thorough investigations, even award compensation, because sometimes we debate here, and in the end we make recommendations, and yet we are not able to even go deep in terms of investigation. So let this matter, I would really urge the colleague who knows her, she has other avenues. If they've refused to file her case at police, there is the Uganda Human Rights Commission, where more, no, as alleged. You see, this is your word against someone else's word. And here you cannot conclude it, honorable. You must really, unless you want to take a side and you say, me, I'm going with this side. Okay? But indeed, I saw those pictures. They were really traumatizing. So, Honorable Saro Pendi, please. Honorable Minister, there is an issue in regard to the IDs, which Honorable Tamaguzi passed on to the Honorable from Wakiso.
Thank you so much, Speaker. Speaker, before he leaves, let's be also explained as a nation. Through you, Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Minister should realize that all of us Ugandans who received national IDs at the start of the process. All our national IDs are going to expire on 2nd December 2024. And then we need a comprehensive program. What is the country going to do at that time? Given that it's a very big number, Honorable Speaker, and 50,000 is really a lot of money for many Ugandans out there. So can we please know what's the plan as far as all of us renewing on this matter? Thank you so much.
Honorable, shall we cease being Ugandans? Because, colleagues, this is a very important issue. You know, you present your ID somewhere for your own. Someone says you will cease being a Ugandan.
Indeed, Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable Members, the IDs we bear now are supposed to be renewed en masse in 2024. And towards that end, the concept note has been evoked by NIRA on how that process will be held. But I think for purposes of the country, indeed it's true, Honourable Member, the country needs to be briefed about how this will happen. And I think we should do so soon enough through my boss, the Prime Minister.
When do you want to bring a statement?
Maybe even next week we can present it.
So next week on Thursday? On Thursday. We shall give
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
On the order paper. Minister of Education. Minister of Education, you had, Minister of Education is not here. So let's go back, colleagues, to our motion. It was a direct motion, colleagues, urging for a comprehensive tax policy. And we still have other motions where I know you also want to contribute in terms of debate. So our leader of opposition, make your comments. Minister of Finance responds, and I put the question.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. This motion for a resolution urging government to develop a documented taxation policy is a good one. And I would go a long way to anchor the interventions of government to enhance effectiveness and efficiency of tax measures in our country. And while it is in order to develop a documented taxation policy, there is a serious general weakness on the part of government. This government, I think, has a serious challenge in implementing documents that are developed now, like this one. For instance, we have a domestic revenue mobilization strategy, which is gathering dust. Revenue mobilization strategy, very good one, well documented, not implemented. Another document is a national strategy for private sector development. The other one is accountability sector strategic investment plan. All these, if you were to go through, if one were to go through, are very, very good, important strategic taxation good plans, but they are never implemented. My take would be that the focus for this taxation policy should be on developing interventions of improving tax administration on ratios. What we see is URA emphasizes mainly on filing, taxpayers filing ratios rather than collection ratios. Because if the allocation from the national budget to URA to go and collect taxes is about 500 million, say, and the target is to collect 22 billion. The question should be, how much in 1 shilling do you meet the target with 1 shilling of, say, if the target is 100, with the 1 shilling, or government is spending more on facilitating collection of taxes? Because It seems URA emphasizes on how many are on the register, how many taxpayers are on the register, how many are filing returns, rather than meeting the target. Because internationally, there has to be targets. But our tax authority hardly focuses on the collection ratios, but more, they spend more or concentrate more focus on filing ratios. This should change. Mr. Speaker, there has to be also an undertaking on post-legislative scrutiny for each taxation law to determine the impact, for instance, of the provision of such a tax on the citizenry. We had a tax called mobile money tax. It was very unpopular. Why? Because at that time, even when mobile money digital financial transaction had gained prominence amongst even the poor of the poor, the youth, when this tax was introduced, that prominence grumbled, and actually there were very few that remained on the digital platform of mobile money. So there has to be legislative scrutiny, subject this tax to scrutiny, a post-legislative scrutiny to know the impact, how it has impacted on the citizenry. Is it meeting or contributing to the realization of their aspirations, and particularly sharing the national cake? Thank you, and I conclude with an undertaking and the publishing of regulatory impact assessment. I know the Honorable Kate Shumba should be knowing this. This highlights a kind of a cost-benefit analysis. It helps to determine the costs and the benefits that will accrue as the effect of that tax. This will help to address the gap of determining the provisions of the proposed taxes and the projected burden to the taxpayer. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Leader of Opposition. Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker and colleagues. I wish to thank and congratulate the move of this motion. It has energized me. You know, money is never enough. Parliament wants more resources. Defense wants more resources. Agriculture wants more resources, and so forth. So I'm very elated and very happy that we are addressing this question of tax revenues. And I encourage you to help me, show me what I should do in order to enhance our tax. So, on this tax and the policy and the strategy, actually we should be speaking about the two. The tax policy, now somebody is asking me for the coffee.
Honorable Matia Kasaija, anyone who is not on record of Parliament, please don't respond.
And I don't have, Mr. Speaker, to say he's out of order. Okay, so.
Procedure.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable.
Honorable Minister, take your seat.
Right Honorable, I'm wondering whether we're proceeding right, because previously you suspended the debate. We had issues in as far as filling the gaps in the motion that was presented to us. And as you hear, the minister is asking us to advise him, but you didn't give us the chance, Right Honorable. I'm wondering if we are proceeding right. Thank you.
Honorable, this motion, all of it, if you check on the order paper, was given 30 minutes. I've given it over an hour. In fact, I didn't even proceed well by going beyond the allocated time. Okay? So you can't add on any more time because we have other business on the order paper. And I know that other business, you're equally interested in it. So the minister is still available, and in my ruling, in the end, in my guidance, you will hear what I will say that will allow you more debate on the same matter. So we are proceeding very well. Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Debate should not end only in Parliament. It can continue. I can get advice from you, not necessarily on the floor of Parliament. You can write, you can guide, and we will definitely follow what you have guided us. I seem to have heard somebody say collection targets. Yes, we must have collection targets because it is the amount of resources, what we call the envelope. My staff there call it envelope, but what we are talking about is the amount of money that we realize in any given financial year in order to meet the demands of the state or the people to get services. So my conclusion is really to express my thanks. Thank you very much on this, but the debate, in my view, should continue, and anybody who has got a very useful point to help me to increase revenue, I will welcome him or I will welcome her with open hands. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Yes, colleagues, you've seen from the debate, we need the Minister to undertake a comprehensive evaluation of the economic benefits of the tax exemption as granted by government in the last 10 years, so that we are informed as a House. People are talking of ABC, this is very, very important. But also, you could see members want us to have a review of the existing tax exemptions and establish their necessity. Are they still necessary? Do we still need to dangle that much as a country? Or we've reached a certain take-off stage whereby we are competitive enough. We don't need to first give away each and everything we have for someone to come here and invest. Colleagues, with the debate that we've had and considering the other matters which we have, I now put a question that a motion for a resolution of Parliament urging government to develop a documented comprehensive taxation policy be adopted. Those in favor say aye, those against say nay. The ayes have it. Honourable Minister, as per Rule 220 of our Rules of Procedure, I would need an action taken report on this motion in the next 3 months. You bring it on the floor and we debate it, so that an action taken report. And once they bring that action taken report, we shall be able to debate it here. And we see the steps taken, and then we can add on others, since the Minister has said we need to contribute together as Ugandans to get a very clear, comprehensive taxation policy. Next item.
Most obliged, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you. Yes, Honourable Nandara.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the procedures I'm raising, this motion has come in, but in our laws, it is well stipulated that the ministry will come up with policies, economic policies, taxation policies, and even if you reach, I think in my public finance, I can't remember the section very well. So, Mr. Speaker, what is this we're raising? Is it procedure right that we are urging the minister to bring something, yet the law is there for the minister to bring this? And we are giving him even 3 months, yet it is mandated that every budget before it comes, that should be the first item to be put on. So I wanted to know, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable, in fact, we have a taxation policy. But the members were arguing that it's not comprehensive. And comprehensive is a relative one. And that's why I loved the response of the minister when he said that you will also guide me you'll also contribute, because me, what I have might be comprehensive to me, but not comprehensive to you. So we are just contributing at this, and we've had an extensive debate over it, and we've already voted on it, so we really can't go back. So we are proceeding very well.
Item number 4, motion for resolution of Parliament urging government to urgently operationalize the road fund.
Honorable Saro Pendi. The whole of this will take us around 30 minutes, so Honorable, try to summarize, and then the rest of the motion will be captured on the answer.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, this is a motion for a resolution of this House to government to urgently operationalize the road fund. Whereas the Uganda Road Fund was established by the Uganda Road Fund Act 2008 to operate as a second-generation fund with the objective of financing the routine and periodic maintenance of public roads in Uganda, ensuring that public roads are maintained at all times, and advising the Minister on preparation and effective implementation of an annual road maintenance program. And whereas Section 21 of the Act provides for finances of the Uganda Road Fund to include road user charges, fines under the Traffic and Road Safety Act, monies appropriated by the Parliament for purposes of the fund, and revenue or assets received by the fund in the performance of its functions, donations, grants to the fund from government, aware that Parliament has on several occasions recommended that the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development should develop regulations for the operationalization of the Uganda Road Fund as a second-generation fund to enable the Uganda Road Fund access funding as stipulated in Section 21 of the Act to meet its road maintenance needs. Further aware that Uganda Revenue Authority, in the exercise of its revenue collection mandate, collects monies that constitute finances for the road fund, yet such monies are remitted to the consolidated fund. Concerned that Uganda Road Fund has continued to draw its resources from the consolidated fund, contrary to the Uganda Road Fund Act, Section 21(3), which requires that road user charges are remitted directly to the fund on a monthly basis, hence undermining the purpose for which the Uganda Road Fund was established. Further concerned that the failure by the Minister to operationalize the Uganda Road Fund has continuously constrained its capacity to guarantee timely, reliable, and adequate funding of road maintenance programs, contributing to increased road accidents. Now, therefore, be it resolved by Parliament that the Minister responsible for finance should operationalize the road fund in accordance with Section 49 of the Act by the end of the financial year 2021-2022. The Minister responsible for finance should ensure that funds collected by the Uganda Road Revenue Authority as road user charges are remitted to the fund as stipulated in Section 21(3) of the Act. And thirdly, the Minister presents to Parliament the regulations made under Section 49 of the Act by June 2022. I beg to submit, Right Honourable Speaker.
Is the motion seconded? Okay. Seconded by Honourable Nathan Byanyima, Honourable Rita Tire, Honourable Noah Wanza, and many other colleagues. Honourable, would you like to speak to your motion? Procedure?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I rise under Rule 58 and 78 of our Rules of Procedure on amendment to a motion. This motion is urging government to urgently the road fund. And it states in this motion that the government has been in contravention of the Roads Act by drawing the Uganda Road Fund from the consolidated fund instead of the road fund. This is a matter of legality. It's not an optional matter. It's an obligational matter. And therefore, we cannot urge government. Right Honourable Speaker, in your communication you directed that, that the Minister of Finance reports here within 1 hour. And he reported in less than 1 hour. You didn't urge him. What I'm saying is that, and I want to propose, that instead of urging government, this motion should direct government to operationalize this fund by the end of the financial year. It's a matter of legality, not an optionality matter itself. We've had issues of roads. You can see Prime Minister's time is about roads. Urgent matters is about roads. I beg to submit.
Thank you, Honorable. That's a very good proposal, but it would be in contravention of Article 93 of the Constitution because it has a direct charge on the consolidated fund. So the only thing, we are constrained by the Constitution. We would have loved to use a tougher language, okay? But you're saying they draw money from the consolidated fund. So Article 93 of the Constitution won't allow you to have such a motion on the floor. So we are moving well. Honorable Sarah, speak to your motion.
Right Honorable Speaker, the Road Fund Act was enacted by this Parliament. It is now 14 years, Right Honorable Speaker, since this act has been in place, and Section 49 obligates the Minister responsible for finance, working with the Minister responsible for roads, to issue a statutory instrument operationalizing this act. And Right Honorable Speaker, it's unfortunate that time and again members rise up to raise issues regarding their roads, to raise issues regarding broken bridges, and the problem would actually be solved if we had this road fund in place. Honorable Speaker, over the Ministry of Finance has been sometimes 20%, sometimes 25%, sometimes 30%. If I look at the financial year 2021-2022, out of the 506 budgeted for, only 258 billion was actually released, translating into 51% of that budget. This financial year, Right Honorable Speaker, as we speak, the budget is for 487.9 billion. Release as we speak now. Out of that amount, only 251 has been released, resulting into a shortfall of 231 billion. Right Honorable Speaker, there is no way the National Roads Authority, together with the Minister of Works, can actually maintain our roads, Right Honorable Speaker. Uganda Road Fund needs 1.5, of which 690 billion is for UNRWA, and the balance is for the districts and cities. And Right Honorable Speaker, as a result of this, we have seen members with the road accidents, Right Honorable Speaker, in different parts of the country. The potholes are partially road accidents, Right Honorable Speaker. We have the rains now in place with emergencies that require emergency interventions. UNRWA cannot respond to these emergency interventions. Equally, cannot handle some of these emergencies that they would actually do because some of them, and it is all because of the funding, Right Honorable Speaker. And Right Honorable Speaker, the money is actually collected, but all the collections from the road user fees and all the other fees go to the consolidated fund. This money, as per the Act, would be going directly to the fund which should have been created by the Ministry of Finance, but this has not been done to date. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to move in accordance that since this matter has been years, and even attempts to have these regulations prepared have not yielded much. People are moving back and forth in the Ministry of Finance, showing clearly that there is no goodwill in having this fund in place, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to request that if we want UNRWA to have funds in order to ensure sustainability of our roads or the road network in this country, and ensuring that our roads are safe for each one or every Ugandan to use, we need, Right Honorable Speaker, to have this funds in place, and Right Honorable Speaker, to move that the Minister operationalizes this particular fund before of June and ensures, Speaker, that we have the regulations placed before this House before close of this financial year.
Thank you, honorable colleague, for giving. Support the motion. May I know from you whether UNRWA would be self-sustaining on the road users' fees? No, the only road I know that is paying fees is the Entebbe Express Highway. And your motion is being dependent on user fees. You're saying the road user fees should go into the land fund. Would the road infrastructure, for that matter, be self-sustaining if the road users' fees go into the land fund? I support the motion, but I seek that clarification.
Thank you, Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, my motion talks about monies appropriate for purposes of the fund and revenue assets received by the fund in the performance of its function. We have fees, not only the only toll road, we have fuel levy. It's supposed to go, if you read of the road, it's very clear. All the fines on the road are supposed to go directly into the fund, not only the road toll. And currently, as we speak, URA collects over 1 trillion shillings, of which the Uganda Road Fund actually needs 1.4. If it got the 1.4 or even more, would have be making all this, would not be raising all these matters of national importance that we are raising here, because the money would actually be available to work on the roads. But because of lack of that money, members come here to raise this so that the minister for works or the minister or the prime minister can actually look for the money to work on their roads. So the money would actually be sufficient. But the problem is that the Ministry of Finance releases just a percentage. Sometimes 25% in the previous years. Last year it was 51. Now it is just around half, maybe 50. So this is where the challenge is. The money is actually there, but it is
Honorable,
used for other purposes.
You don't access a microphone before having permission. Now, Honorable Saropendi, you can have your seat. Because we need to harmonize this position, very clear. Okay. And I was sharing with Honorable Kwizera here, because we have the role. And Honorable Minister, you need to go back. You sit with the Attorney General. We see a way of streamlining our roads. Now, the Road Fund Act was passed in 2008. It's a 2008 law. But then you have the Public Finance Management Act, which was passed in 2015, and under Section 30 consolidated all funds apart from the Petroleum Fund. Okay? But then you have what I was sharing with Honorable Kwizera here, Article 153 of the Constitution, which says these other funds must be protected. You cannot consolidate the funds. Article 153, which establishes the consolidated fund, and 153.2, which says the revenues or other monies referred to in clause 1 of this article shall not include revenues or other monies, A, that are payable by or under an act of parliament into some other fund established for a specific purpose. Okay? So if this was established for purpose of a road fund, now the Constitution will take precedence
Let me guide on this.
in such a matter.
Madam,
Okay.
sorry, Mr.
So,
Speaker.
to remove this confusion, because Ministry of Finance has been moving under Section 30 of the Public Finance Management Act. But when you have Article 153 of the Constitution, Honourable Minister, do you want to say anything before I allow? Don't mind, because you see some of these matters I want us, all of us, to move in tandem. The seconders are going to come. Honourable Nathan Byanyima is going to come as a seconder. I wanted the minister to.
Oh, thank you. Honorable Speaker and colleagues, these are matters of law. And we have an institution that helps us in legal matters. And therefore, in the brief, I would say, give me a chance to refer this matter to the Attorney General so that we can streamline what is wrong and we come up with a policy, but also backed by the law. So I beg, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable colleagues, allow me to defer this matter Thursday next week. I know why I'm doing this. We defer this matter Thursday next week so that the minister, okay? I'm not concluding the matter, Honorable. I'm not putting any question or what.
Some background information, Mr. Speaker.
It will, okay, Honorable Byanyima, information.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was the chairperson of a committee when this bill came. It was a bill before anyway. We benchmarked. We went all over. If you look at Tanzania, Kenya, we almost have the same laws. But this particular act was never wanted by Minister of Finance. Never wanted it. Even the officer from Soroti, if I can remember very well, who managed to help us with information, because the bills, the papers to cabinet had been taken and they was withdrawn. Nobody wanted. If an officer in the Ministry of Finance said, on his grave, road fund will come up. The story I'm talking about, it is the spirit in which finance has looked at this. But for this minister, I have no problem. I was recently a board member of road fund. I sat with him. We found just 100 shillings on fuel, not tampering with excise duty of fuel, on fuel. It was coming to 1.2 trillion. Just you give road fund 800 billion, you will see this country changing. Today, Tanzania is ahead of us. We are there first. Kenya is ahead of Tanzania. Kenya. Namibia is the best because that money is ring-fenced specifically for road maintenance. These members of parliament, there are people who have been giving witness, like testimonies, that I came back to parliament because of the money that used to come to my sub-county. Every member of parliament belongs to a committee, this road committee of road fund at the district. But the money that goes there is so little now, it cannot cause an impact.
Now, Honorable Nathan.
So,
Honorable Nathan.
Allow me, please.
No, Honorable Nathan, please. Okay? Now you're debating and you're submitting. But what I've said is very simple. This is a factual matter. Okay? Please, allow me, I give my guidance on this matter. The minister has been proceeding under a different law. If you read Section 30 of the Public Finance Management Act, it consolidates all these funds apart from the petroleum fund. But there is a constitution. The minister is not saying the motion is bad or what. And I'm not saying we conclude the motion. what I'm saying is simple. Minister, go, write to the Attorney General on this matter and ensure you get a response, okay? A guidance on operationalization of Article 153. And on Thursday, I will have it on order paper. Otherwise, when you're debating a matter where a minister is saying I'm uncomfortable with the law, I'm confused, then even he can't be guided very well. He's tied, his hands are tied. So I want us to move in tandem. Now, if on Thursday the minister came with a letter from the Attorney General saying, please operationalize these funds, then there would have achieved our target. And what we are trying to achieve is a certain target. So I rule that way. Let us not waste time on this. On Thursday, I need this item on order paper so that the minister can report on what the Attorney General has guided, and you lay the rate on table. If the Attorney General has not guided by then we shall resume the debate on the matter and we submit. I've already ruled, and
thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Being there no other item, I adjourn the House to Tuesday at 2 p.m.
Of the day on UBC.